doing?
I am doing amazing because I'm talking to you right now. I grew up watching martial arts movies back in the 90s, and my first movie webpage was a Jackie Chan webpage where I reviewed martial arts films. And so you're carrying that torch in the
Awesome.
modern era. So thank you so much for all of your work.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm lucky to be in this position because I'm the same as you, mate, growing up in the 90s watching action martial arts films.
Yes, so I thoroughly enjoyed the film, and on this movie, you had a story credit on this film. Um, where exactly did the idea come from? How did you envision kind of this, World War II POW martial arts tournament kind of merger?
Yeah, I just had this idea knocking around in my head for a few years about doing something that felt like that famous scene from The Deer Hunter, but like a martial arts version of that. Um, the bridge over the River Kwai felt too big in scale for the sorts of films that I normally end up doing. So I wanted to do something a bit more down and dirty like that. So I had this treatment that I gave to Louis Mandylor and his producing partner, Mark Klebanoff. Mark Klebanoff went off and wrote the script, fleshed it out much more than I could, put the whole this historical death march aspect to it in there. And, wrote a great script, and Louis wanted to direct it. And that's how the whole thing came about.
You kind of touched on this in that, but what were all kind of the movies that inspired both on your end to do a tele story like this, and then in the execution of it that you guys were looking at it as reference points?
Well, I just love those survival movies, like Men Against the Elements, or in the Wilderness, or if it's like a survival type of movie like this, Behind Enemy Lines. I always gravitate to those sorts of stories. And look, to be truthful, it's I'm always doing fight movies, action martial arts films. And for me, it's interesting because I don't want to let my audience down. I want to give them what what they want. That's important to me. So I try and find different ways of doing that within different genres. And this time I happen to try and do it in the World War II genre, if that's a genre, the war movie. And the director Lewis, he's actually shot a couple of war movies in that period before, directed. So I felt comfortable to do it, and we came up with a good story, and there's a lot of gravitas in there. It's not just about the action; it's a proper story with proper characters in there.
Somewhat on what you just touched on, when approaching something like this, where you're tackling World War II, which obviously real people died, the death march was a real thing. How do you balance trying to have the thrills and have this exciting movie, but respecting tone-wise the reality of the atrocities of POW camps?
To be honest, the main issue with that for me was I didn't want to portray every Japanese character as the bad guy. There's no getting away from the atrocities and the brutal nature of those camps and some of the things that went on. But it was important that not every Japanese character be an asshole, I wanted to have some light within there. So we do have the certain characters in there that are conflicted about what they're seeing and trying to help as much as they can in a world where, it's country against country, nation against nation. What are you going to do? Be a traitor? But you want to try and have some dignity and righteousness to you. And even the main bad guy, Ito, is conflicted in some ways. So that was important to us, that it wasn't just a mustache twirling Japanese bad guy,
Specifically on the fights with the stunt team and with the nature of what was your angle in trying to bring something fresh into these fights in this context of a POW camp that you were trying to do fresh with it?
Well, I think what's fresh in this is the fact that you've got a Westerner in the 40s who's doing flying kicks. So that's something new. And I think we found a good enough way of explaining that story, that the guy has grown up in Hong Kong and he's a bit of, he's a little bit not doing as he's told, growing up on the streets of Hong Kong, running away from home, getting involved in mischief and learning martial arts and traveling the East in a time when Westerners didn't necessarily do that, or not that we know about anyway. But because he's in British colonial Hong Kong, he considers himself an Englishman. And when the war kicks off, he goes back and he enlists in the RAF. And here he is behind enemy lines in Japan with, in Philippines with martial arts skill and prowess. So that's interesting in itself. I think you could make a film about this guy's backstory, to be honest. It'd be quite interesting. He's almost like a martial arts Indiana Jones. But anyway, yeah, that whole thing makes it interesting. And we've seen films like this before, but this is with a martial arts bent to it, you know.
Well, even like you talk about his backstory, that's even drives you the motivation of the villain. Like, how do you know this? How do you know how to do this? Like,
exactly. It's confusing to him. It's annoying to him. It's he wants to see this guy crushed because you know, that's kind of like, that's our identity there. How dare you? I'm gonna have you crushed in front of your men and in front of mine. But that's the thing that Ito doesn't. He could easily put a bullet in his head. Could easily have him beheaded, which he tries to do at one point before he realizes he's got these skills. And then it's a case of, no, you need to be defeated in the ring by one of my men that I've spent all this time training. And we need to crush the spirit of your men by seeing that happen.
Right. And I think that's what kind of brings some of the weight to it, that it's this honor respect thing of like, I hate you, but I respect you. I'm good. Like so many conflicting emotions, and everyone's trying to convince him like, dude, just shoot him.
Yeah. Just take his head off. No. It must be done in a certain way. And even, you know, even like, that's why we wanted to play with that. And, you know, even at the end, it's like, things don't necessarily go as you may expect from that standpoint. I don't want to give anything away.
Today's video is brought to you by HelloFresh. Fall is almost here. That means cooler nights, craving heartier meals, and wanting something warm and satisfying. This season, HelloFresh has had a massive upgrade with their biggest menu yet. HelloFresh has doubled their menu. That means you can choose from 100 options each week. Likewise, you can feel great because their menu is even healthier with high protein and veggie-packed recipes. Here's the part that I love. You can get steak and seafood delivered to your door every week, no extra cost. There's 3 times more seafood on the menu now at no extra cost. I'm not a cook, not a chef. They deliver the exact ingredients in the right proportions with clear directions on how to make these delicious meals. Therefore, even someone like me that does not know what they're doing is able to cook an amazing meal. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/SeanChandler10FM now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/SeanChandler10FM to get 10 free meals plus free item for life.
You know, it's a movie that, for the most part, kind of is very intense. POWs, World War II, Death March. Were there any kind of fun behind the scenes moments that kind of played out in this otherwise intense story, but was fun behind the scenes?
Oh, it's always fun to be had, you know. You got to have a good sense of humor, especially when you're filming in the Philippines in the rainy season and the set starts washing away. I mean, what else can you do other than laugh? It was a tough shoot. It was a tough shoot, really. I mean, we're stupid to be doing it in the rainy season, but my schedule sort of made it that we had to. But yeah, Lewis, the director, he was sick as a dog by the end of it. He was completely destroyed. So much stress, so many shenanigans behind the scenes that you'd never know about. But somehow we made a good movie out of it.
So one of the things that's just always baffled me about Hollywood is that I'll watch this movie, which I assume has the fraction of the budget of these big, gigantic Hollywood blockbusters, but the fights are more thrilling in the small scale, one city POW tournament fighter versus the $200 million spectacle film. For the most part, there of course are exceptions in that, but just can you try to help me understand, like, what is it that like is different in the settings of how action is shot between what you're making and the movie that has all the resources?
You know, it's hard to do. It's hard to do these martial arts scenes. if you're not a real martial artist. And if you're just training to do it on, look, it takes years of training to be like Donnie Yen or Jackie Chan. You can't just pull it out of the bag. So you're either dedicating your life to it or you're not. And even for a real fighter from the UFC, there's an adjustment period of learning how to do it for the camera and how to sell punches and how to sell getting hit, which a stunt guy would know about, but a real fighter wouldn't necessarily. And then you've got the people that shoot it. Do they know how to feature the action? Do they know how to fill the frame? Do they know how to play with the right lens and the play with camera speed? And then it goes to the editing room. Who's the editor? What does he know about fight scenes? What are the fight scenes that he likes? Oh, I'm a big fan of the Bourne Ultimatum. That's when you've got to fire them and go, right, you're not for this one, mate. Go on, clear off. But sometimes on these bigger movies, like you could have Chad Stahelski come in as a second unit director and create this action sequence. And then they give it over to the studio, and the editor, who's never thrown a kick or punch in his life, might come in and go, I'm going to put my special spin on this. I'm going to over edit it. Why? Well, no reason. Just because I think it looks better. But actually ends up ruining it. And you think to yourself, hang on a minute, just watch a Jackie Chan movie.
Right.
Go and watch a Jet Li film. Go and watch The Matrix. What do you see? Why do you think that your style's better? And it doesn't even make sense to me or you or most people. So, yeah, back to square one. I don't even get it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that's so crazy to me is the John Wick team comes out. Everyone goes, that's awesome. We want more of that. And it's like they don't learn the lesson.
Yeah, and then they don't do it. And then they don't do it.
Trying to piece it together. Is it like, back in the day, Jackie Chan's the filmmaker, the star, it's his stunt team. And then you look at John Wick, that it's a stunt double that worked with Keanu Reeves for decades. And then he's in charge of the shooting and everything like that. Is it that cohesive process versus a blockbuster? The director, the star, the stunt team are all independently hired?
Well, with Chad Stahelski, you've got a guy who was stuntman, stunt coordinator, second unit director, and now a director. And so he comes in and he knows the way he wants it to look from start to finish. Then there's other movies where the director might be directing it, but the action team comes in to do the action. Mm-hmm. And as soon as it's turned over to post-production, they're not in control of it anymore. So other decisions can be made. And so, things can happen that you wouldn't want to happen. But then you've got somebody like Jackie Chan, who is a filmmaker himself and a choreographer and understands where to put the camera and would do his own editing. But a lot of the time in Hong Kong, you would have a specialized action director like Yuen Wu-ping, who did The Matrix. And he would not only shoot it, but also would edit it, would be in on the edit and say, this is how it's supposed to be done. It's just when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, they can muck it up. Honestly, I worked on Wolverine, X-Men Origins, the first original Wolverine movie, and I saw those fights cut together, and they were incredible. And by the time the film came out, they weren't as good.
Yeah.
Because somebody decided to mess it up in the edit, and it doesn't even make sense to me. Yeah.
That's the stuff that's so confusing, and you realize how collaborative filmmaking is.
It's the quick cutting. It's the MTV quick cutting. Oh, we think we want, but you look at Extraction or John Wick.
Right.
You don't have that. You see everything you need to see. Why are you cutting it fast? You don't need to, because it looks impressive. Don't mess with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. It's so frustrating when you watch a movie and it has great people in it and you think something awesome's on screen, but the editing, the camera work just.
But sometimes it is broke, so you have to fix it. If an actor's doing it that isn't very good at the martial arts, and you can clearly see the double, then we better do the quick cutting because we haven't got a choice.
A couple questions on a couple of older films you did. I saw Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning for the first time about a month ago in a theater, and they played it in the true 3D, and it was and I guess not very many people have seen that format, but it was a packed theater. And it's one of these movies that has like a really strong cult following. Did you have any clue that when you were making that movie, it was going to stand the test of time and build out almost its own audience independent of the original film? Because it's such a different, almost genre.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Look, I was in the cinema watching Universal Soldier 1.
Mhm.
Thought it was incredible. Loved it. You know, Van Damme and Dolph together. Massive spectacle of a movie. Never imagined I'd be in one of those films. I think John Hyams did a brilliant job with the third one. Really great, intense, almost like stripped down, Black Hawk Down version of
Yeah. Yeah.
a Universal Soldier film. You know, down and dirty, intense. And then he did something completely different for our film, turned it into a horror movie, almost psychological thriller. I think a lot of people didn't get it at the time, like couldn't follow it, like which I don't understand. But I think it's a bit of stroke of genius when you realize at the end that the hero that you've been following is actually the bad guy, and he's sent there by the evil government to take out his twisted plan. And even when he's told that and realizes it, he still goes through with it because these implanted memories that aren't even real. That's all he has to hold on to anyway. So it's intelligent, you know, writing. And it's an intense film, and it's one of my best films for sure. So I'm glad to hear that it's still finding an audience.
And in playing in 3D, all the trippy, dreamlike stuff, it plays so disorienting into the nature of it. It's like it's a use of 3D that I've never seen before that makes sense.
I'm not
for such a
sure
small
I've even seen it in 3D. I don't think I've even seen it in 3D.
That's wild.
I'd love to. Yeah.
Do
you know what they said? Do you know what they said was we're filming in 3D, so the depth perception, you can see it better.
Yeah.
I don't even know if this is true, but I'm there with Andrei Arlovsky, UFC heavyweight champ, and they're saying, no, you can't put the fist here anymore. It's got to be there, like here. This isn't good enough because it's 3D. It's got to be here. And I'm like, oh, okay. Painful.
Oh, man. Yeah, with someone that you know can take your head off. One more quick question on something. So you're known for doing practical fights, but you're in the Marvel movie known for its having the craziest, wackiest CGI. What was it like switching to doing fighting on a wall that's building in a CGI environment when you're used to having a person right in front of you that practical?
Yeah, there was, I think we were on the green screen for like 2 weeks and you just get sick of the green. And there's an animatic and you're trying to stick to the artist's interpretation of this action scene that's all been done previs or whatever. And you know, it's fine. It's a lot slower moving on those movies. And sometimes it's refreshing to do the low budget stuff because you're just cranking it out, moving on to the next. Whereas you feel like this stuff's going on for days on those big budget movies. But obviously for me, it was nice to have a change of pace and do a big budget movie with the nice catering for a change.
Yeah, it's just what's thinking in that movie, you fight a cape. That's about as different as you can get from what you normally do.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Actually, I remember there was some stuff that we did on wires and everything on the green screen that they actually ended up doing with the animatic CGI in the end, which was interesting. Yeah, we tried to achieve it with the wires, but they must have thought, but we'll just animate it instead.
Closing things out, back to Prisoner of War. With this movie, what's the big thing that you want to take away? What's your final pitch to my audience for why they should check this one out?
Look, if you're a fan like Sean of the old school action movies, or if you need to be introduced to something like that, this is that type of movie where you're watching people that can actually fight, do the fighting. It brings a lot of intensity to it, believability to it. But aside from all that, it's a compelling story. You know, men trying to battle against all odds to escape with their lives in the World War II setting. And I think the director did a fantastic job. The cinematography is great. We are a low budget movie. We are an independent movie for sure, but I'm really happy with the result and think we contend with any film out there at the moment.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed the film. And as I said before, I very much appreciate that you're kind of keeping the genre alive and that we're still getting these martial arts films that have meant so much to me throughout my life.
Thanks, Sean. That's all I need to hear, mate, because that's why I'm doing it. And I'm not just doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for myself because I love these films too. And I'm making the sorts of films that I want to see. I appreciate that.